Ambitious people, to the front. You don't have to hide here. You know you don't want an average life, and you know you have what it takes to live and pursue whatever it is that you want in this world, and yet somewhere along the way you've started playing small. Maybe it's because you're shifting into a new identity, and part of you feels guilty for that, because your entire life has been a fight, and for the first time you're starting to see what life looks like without that constant fight. The struggle that at one point was your entire existence is now shrinking more and more by the day, but you feel like by letting go of that struggle completely, you're going to come off as out of touch, and you're going to disconnect from people who you still love and respect as you evolve into this new version of yourself. You are shrinking your ambition in order to fit back into a box that you have outgrown for a while now, all in an effort to remain palatable to a group of people you may just not relate to anymore, but that doesn't mean you can't still connect with them. Or maybe it's just time to accept that while you love and respect those people, they're not the people who are going to be able to resonate with the message that you're sharing now. Now, I'm not speaking about this from someone who's already made it on the other side of this. I'm actually in the thick of this with you. I've been afraid recently that I'm like entering into a stage of burnout because every day I feel exhausted, which is something I haven't felt for a while. But burnout really wasn't making sense because at no point do I feel like I'm overworked. At no point am I begrudging going into my work. At no point am I looking at the camera and saying, ugh, I don't want to do this. I'm not struggling with ideas, and honestly, my work energizes me. If anything, it doesn't deplete me. But for some reason, I've woke up every day feeling like I have nothing to give. I just feel exhausted. And I've found out that the reason for that is because somewhere along the way, I've stopped being unapologetic about the truth that I currently exist in. I am getting to a point where I no longer relate to the struggle that I've existed in my entire life, and part of me feels guilty for that because there are people in my real life and there are people in my audience who are still very much in that struggle. I'm afraid of entering the territory where I am out of touch to the point where people feel like they can't trust or listen to me anymore. Isn't it weird that the struggle we tried so hard to get rid of ends up becoming like a badge of honor, a permission slip for us to feel like what we have to share is worth listening to? On some of my platforms, I haven't been sharing from the perspective I'm existing in now because I feel like I'm not allowed to. But wait a damn minute, this is my content. This is my page. I built this. I had to sit down and ask myself, do I want the kind of audience who needs to see me bleed in order to feel like I'm worth trusting? And the answer to that is no. I know that my audience is like me. They see somebody who's winning and they don't look at that as a personal attack on them. They look at that as an example of what's possible, and they use it as a permission slip to go all in on whatever it is that they're pursuing. Most of my life, I hadn't had a dollar to my name, and yet I still found it so exciting watching people succeed. I was watching the show Owning Manhattan, which is about realtors in New York City selling and the owner building up his empire, his real estate empire. And I just found myself like jumping for joy every time one of the agents like closed their highest sale yet. And that's when I paused. I'm like, why am I rooting for someone who just made millions of dollars? I didn't just make millions of dollars. And I realized that it's simply just because I have the kind of mind that if someone else can do something, there's no reason I can't do it. And I think people who get mad at watching other people succeed are simply just deeply insecure in themselves. And I don't even mean that in like an insulting way. Like, I've been there. I've been in that state where it feels like somebody else winning, especially when it's somebody who you think has all the privilege in the world is winning. You feel like that is directly taking away from you. But if there's anything that the last 2 years have shown me, it's that I am fully capable of achieving the highest level of success. The only ceiling that I have in my life is the one that I set for myself. If you watch my video where I talk about how I built my six-figure brand kind of on accident, you will know that these last 2 years have been paved in obstacles. But ultimately, I made it through the other side of all those obstacles simply because I believe in myself and I trust myself. For most of my life, I didn't believe in myself. I did have a lot of ambition. I knew I had big goals for myself, but I didn't know if I was capable of doing them, which is why in big part, I wasn't going big. I wasn't moving big. I wasn't taking a risk. I wasn't going all in, and I didn't see the level of success that I want. But you read enough self-help books, you go to therapy, and ultimately you just get older and you get to this point where you just realize, why the hell have I ever let anyone else limit me? It's kind of taboo to say that you want to make a lot of money, that you want to have big impact, that you want status, that you want to build an empire. Yet so many people want that quietly. They just don't talk about it. You'll see people who are massively successful start preaching sustainability because they know that talking about sustainability appeals to people's comfort. When in actuality, yeah, maybe now they can focus on sustainability, but that's not what got them there in the first place. They got there by being really imbalanced and going all in on one area of their life. I can't think of a single example of somebody who got to massive success by not doing abnormal things. I would rather be honest and real about the fact that, yeah, the last 2 years of my life have been imbalanced, but I've enjoyed the ride. I'm not unhappy. And now I'm getting to a stage where things have more balance. I'm able to hire cleaners that come 2 times a month and they come and clean my house, and now my house is always clean. I spend more time doing skincare and self-care. I've started cooking my meals a little bit more. But I wouldn't have been able to get to this point if I didn't completely surrender to my ambition and go all in, stay hungry, and go after what I want relentlessly. I'm not saying it's the healthiest thing in the world, and I'm not saying it's what everybody should do. I'm just simply being transparent about what my journey's been and what I've seen every successful person's journey been. But I think it's been easy for me to kind of ride the line of talking about ambition and how much I'm working and things like that, because there was also still this storyline of like, well, he knows what it's like to struggle, et cetera, et cetera. But now I feel like I'm entering into this stage where, yes, I know what it was like to struggle. I did it most of my life, but I just don't identify with it anymore, if that makes sense. Like at this point, me talking about my struggle feels like something I'm putting on a resume in order to prove to somebody that I am capable of talking about my success, when I deserve to talk about my success simply because I've put in the work to have it. And when we think about this term out of touch, which is something that a lot of people like to throw around, don't you want to be out of touch with struggle? I don't want anyone to be in touch with struggle. I understand it's a reality and I hate that more than anything. But my entire mission, what I do for work, is literally help people get out of the struggle. Like literally help people get out of touch with what struggle looks like. It doesn't mean I'm blind to it. It just means that I don't relate to it anymore. And when I think about people who are rich, the person who's rich that irritates me the most is the person who can't just stand in the fact that they're successful, who can't just own the fact that they don't understand certain things and can't just keep their mouth shut about things that they don't know anything about. I have absolutely no reason to feel shame around sharing every single ounce of my wins and my success. I have no reason to feel shame about existing fully in the joy that I've built for myself for two reasons. One, I built this joy brick by brick. This wasn't handed to me. I literally at 10 years old was learning to make content. I was editing videos on a computer with a broken fan on Windows Movie Maker. If you know what that is, you're from my generation. I just showed my age by talking about Windows Movie Maker. But I would edit on it, worst editing platform in the world. And because the fan in my laptop was broken, it would literally shut down and there was no autosave back then. So I would have to start all over again. And it would take me hours and hours to get a video that actually edited and exported to my liking so that I could upload it to YouTube. That is what I was willing to do at 10, 11, 12 years old to pursue my creativity. I took initiative at 12 years old and wrote a letter to my Taekwondo instructor saying, hey, I want to start working here. Even if it's just for a little money, I want to just start helping out and taking some initiative. That got me my first job. That led to me being able to be a Taekwondo instructor, which led to me being able to become a Taekwondo athlete, which led to me starting my first Instagram where I grew my first audience, which led to me starting my first business as a Taekwondo instructor and competing around the world and doing all of the things. I decided that on top of working a 9 to 5, that I was going to take on 4 to 5 coaching calls while also posting content to TikTok every single day. Everything that I have is the result of the effort that I have put in, of the skills that I took the time to build for myself. And number two, because no matter how successful I have been in my life, I have always been someone who will expend any resource to help the people I care about. When I was like a teenager making $50 a week working at my Taekwondo school, helping clean and do things like that, I would buy all my friends Starbucks. I would buy all my friends food. I would buy all my friends whatever I could afford for them, because I've always been someone who's happy to share my wins with the people that I care about. When I was in college and broke, I have declined my card for people I care about. To me, the way I see it, the more resourced I am, the more I get to bring the people that I love with me. I've never been one to hoard my success for myself. In fact, one of my favorite things about getting more resources is all of the really cool things I get to do with the people that I love. This year, I've gotten to take my best friend to Disney World, and we went to all 4 parks. We did the whole Star Wars experience, made our own lightsabers, made our own droid, and I got to pay for that. I got to take one of my really good friends on a trip to Miami where we saw Lady Gaga, and we stayed there for like 3 or 4 days. Next year, I'm taking my friend to see Ariana Grande. I recently paid for all of my friends to go see Stevie Nicks in December. Anytime I'm at a restaurant with my friends and we're all eating out somewhere nice, 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna cover the bill. These aren't things I feel like I have to do. These are things I feel like I get to do. This is what it means to be success. It's not just buying your own freedom, but being able to provide opportunities to the people that you love. The other thing you have to realize when it comes to shrinking is that it benefits absolutely nobody. Ask yourself right now, who are you actually helping by shrinking your vision, by shrinking who you are, by shrinking your ambition down to something that's palatable? It doesn't make the people who are still in struggle any less. It may trigger insecure people that are still in struggle, but that has nothing to do with you and everything to do with how they see themselves. And in part also how the world is treating them, because yeah, sometimes there is privilege. Like maybe there is an opportunity or something I had along the way that someone else doesn't have. But in that same breath, there's been millions and trillions of people who have had way more than me that have gotten where they want to go maybe easier. Like there's always somebody who has more than you do. But there is also always somebody who has had less than you that has made it on the other side. You aren't helping yourself by shrinking because you are stopping yourself from evolving into the person that's going to take you even further. And speaking from experience, I'm definitely not helping people like you watching this video who are also ambitious and want to see what it actually looks like to go all in, to live in your truth, to be unapologetic and get the result of that. Because you don't want content that just helps you feel comfortable in where you already are. You want content that shows you what's possible. You want content that gives you permission to go all in. You want content that helps you feel excited to show up in your fullest version of yourself. You want content that shows you that authenticity can win, that transparency can win, that honesty can win, that sharing the journey, the mess can win, can work, can be successful. Let this video be the permission you need to let go of the version of yourself that just simply doesn't represent you anymore. It's okay for you to evolve. It's not okay for you to shrink. So many people win by watching you exist in the highest version of yourself, and so many people lose by seeing you shrink. Winners, no matter how much money they have, no matter how many resources they have, people who are just internally winners love to see other people win. I want to see you win so badly. In fact, allow the comment section to be the place where you give yourself permission to brag. I want to hear about obstacles you've overcome in the last year or two. I want to hear about your wins. I want to hear about things you've overcome. I want to hear about income. I want to hear about all of the things that have helped you evolve to the next stage of yourself. And if you like this video, please let me know by giving it a thumbs up. If you're not already subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon to be notified with new uploads, and know that going forward, I will no longer be apologizing for existing in the life that I have built for myself. And I hope you won't either. Good luck, and as always, I'm rooting for you.